And I said on the show, I said the industry isn't as entertaining since the takedown of Drake.
So be it, so be it. You ain't solid, ain't valid.
Everybody, I'm out here trying to sell these CDs. I'm trying to change my life around.
We now bring it back over. Why now?
Powerful impact.
My body full of trauma, but I put it on my mama, bitch. I deserve it all.
Prince for the rest of our life, whoop-de-doo. Whoop-de-doo. We go, nigga, stop playing with me. The way right, then we straight right.
Hip-hop is not in the mainstream anymore, and I'm here to say that that is a good thing. Some people are trying to blame this hip-hop not being on the charts or not hip-hop not doing as much numbers as it used to be on the fact that Drake is going and the fact that Kendrick is now the king or now he's on top. But honestly, at the end of the day, hip-hop is going back to the street. Hip-hop is going back to its essence. Hip-hop is going back to its core. For the last few years, hip-hop been chasing pop. Hip-hop has just been a lick for a lot of these, I wouldn't even call them artists, but a lot of these opportunists. They've been coming in hip-hop and they've been looking to make money. They don't even care about the music. So if you ask me, it's a good thing that hip-hop is going back to being niche. Hip-hop is going back to what Glasses Malone would like to say. It's going back to the 80s, because the 80s set up for the 90s. And if you don't understand what that's saying, that means that in the 80s, hip-hop was bubbling. Hip-hop was creating. Hip-hop was experimenting. And you got the Run DMCs, you got the LL Cool J's, you got the Rakim, you got the Foundations, you got the KRS-One. But those guys set up for the next. They set up for the Nas. They set up for the Biggies. They set up for the Pacs. They set up for the Jay-Z's and the DMX. So we're in an era right now where hip-hop is going back to being something that is strictly for the streets. That's strictly about the art. It is not about the charts. For me, I like it because we need to get back to what the meaning of hip-hop is. For me, it's high and infinite power healing our people. And healing and helping our people could be in multiple ways. It doesn't have to always be about kumbaya, conscious music, the government this, the government that. Nah, to me, hip-hop in itself is a anti-establishment movement. It's counterculture. It is consciousness from a perspective of maybe not back on the days of the Boulevard of London, but fuck the police, fuck Donald Trump. Those are conscious records. I mean, what is more conscious than saying F your president? If you really think about it in its core, it's reality rap. It's our reality. It's our truth. And for a long time, it ain't been getting to the truth. It's been about bullshit because a lot of people that came into it was just looking for the money, was just looking for the monetary purposes. And so the culture kind of, it kind of dwindled. Everybody was chasing the big poppy records. They was chasing Drake. Let's keep it real. As much as people like to discredit him, a lot of your favorites were chasing him. I mean, even one of my favorites was chasing him. It kind of messed his whole career up, to be honest with you. And I think this whole attack on a certain religion really comes by way of Drake being on top. But if you get what I'm saying, you get what I'm saying. But for me, man, this is beautiful because what we're seeing as hip hop is going back to the core of it. Is going back to the four elements. You're getting a good Clips album. You're getting an amazing Chance the Rapper album, Starline. You're getting the Ray Vaughns. You're getting a lot of different characters bubbling up. Chris Patrick. There's so many artists out there right now. Little Sims. There's so many up and coming artists out there right now that have the attention of everybody. Doechii, right? Doechii is in the media right now talking about one minute is they forcing her down your throat. The next minute is she nowhere to be found. But Doechii is bubbling. She's creating. She's working the festivals. She's creating her core fan base by hitting what you would consider the chitlin circuit. A lot of people forget that, before social media, you had to actually go out there and perform. And I think that social media is another thing that kind of has made people realize, like with me, I don't be on social media all the time. I feel like I got to tweet less and I got to Discord less and I got to do less as far as videos are concerned. I feel like a lot of your favorite content creators, they there every day with a video, every day. They bringing up old stuff. They talking about old stuff, which, that's good. That's a good content strategy because you want to remain on top of the algorithm. But for me, I kind of want it to be a mystique about me. I kind of want it to be mysterious about me. I don't want people to know everything about me. You get what I'm saying? I don't want people to have so much access to me. And so all on my social media platforms, I have kind of chilled out. I'll go a couple of days without tweeting. I'll go a couple of days without posting on Instagram because for me, I feel like a lot of social media ruined the mystique of hip hop artists. That's the reason why a guy like Kendrick is so mysterious because he's away from the limelight. Same thing with Jay. Same thing with Beyonce. They are away from the limelight. Same thing with the OGs, Nas and them. You don't see them on social media every day. So it creates a mystique about them. So I like that Doechii, long story longer, I like that Doechii is not in the forefront. I like that she's on the back burner. I like that she's not, you don't see her as much. You see her performing and she's been going viral. She had ripped pants the other day on some SpongeBob shit. I think I ripped my pants. And she kept performing. You're not seeing her in no social media beef. You don't know who she's sleeping with. You don't know if she an escort or not. It's strictly about the music. But of course, when you do that, you're going to have the Joe Buttons of the world saying,
ain't nobody heard from Doechii.
where she at? She MIA. It's like she's probably creating good art and focusing on the art and not all of the controversy that was surrounding her. When she was that the Met Gala, or I think that was the Met Gala, and she was screaming on assistants and all that. That went and got popular. People killed her. You look at all these other female MCs that's literally being accused of being escorts. That's literally talking about who's sleeping with who and all this drama online. That's champion, that's praise. So she got out of Dodge. Smart thing for her. I think that hip hop is going back to being about the art. Are you a good performer? Can you sell concert tickets? We don't care about all of that social media stuff. And I think that people are really starting to see that social media stuff don't lead to sales. It don't lead to longevity. You can get a bag right now. And that's what we're seeing, right? We're seeing a lot of rappers and a lot of musicians. They're starting podcasts. They starting GTA servers, which, shout out to T Grizzly. That's going to be the future, actually, of GTA, is going to be having your own servers and doing your own little world. Shout out to T Grizzly. But you see a lot of these rappers that just came in for the lick. They're going to be streamers. They're going on Kick. They're doing this. They're doing that. They're doing anything besides, rapping and doing music, because at the end of the day, it was a lick. I feel like hip hop not being the number one genre is good. Let country have its moment. Let country do its thing. Let's get back to this art. Let's get back to experiment. Let's get back to trying new, different things. And I see it happening slowly. I see artists trying different ways to try to capture an audience and trying to gain people's attention, because let's keep it real. We in the attention wars right now. And as America is regressing back into 1847, as it's regressing back into the 1800s, and racism is at an all-time high, you got ICE everywhere. I'm going to talk about that in every video because it's important. And that's why right now Starline is still my favorite album of the year, because I go back to it. The musicality of it fits more in with my everyday than maybe Let God Sort Them Out. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm about to go back to my truck. I got a feeling Let God Sort Them Out and Starline going to be competing for who going to get me through the day, because it's about to be holiday season. The weather actually finally turned in South Carolina. That's why I got on this shirt. I got it nice and chill in the house, feeling like up top. One thing I hate about living in South Carolina, we don't get too much season changes, at least the part that I live in. So when the season do change, boy, I fall all into it. We carved a pumpkin the other day, everything going lovely. But I say that to say, I really am feeling the music. Like, the music is back. It's becoming meaningful. A lot of these artists were here today, going tomorrow, because they were chasing, shout out to Roddy Ricch. Roddy Ricch, a dope artist. I think Polo G, a dope artist. But I could see where they started to chase their successful songs, or they started to chase the sound instead of what actually made them successful. It's going to be a resurgence of the artist. I think 2026 is going to be a very good year for hip hop. This year was a very good year for hip hop. But if we looking at the charts, if we looking at the success, and it makes sense, because a lot of the people that grew up on hip hop, they got older. They in the MAGA bags right now. They in the manosphere bags right now. A lot of shit has changed within the everyday life of America. So hip hop will kind of fall to the back burner, because really, let's keep it real. A lot of times hip hop be the number one thing. I relate hip hop success and where it's at right now to the sneaker game. If you look up the sneaker game, you type in sneakers, you're going to see sneakers are dead. Sneaker game is dead. Sneakers, to me, is very important. Fashion in general, fashion trends and fashion in general is very important to me when it comes to hip hop, because where you see the trends in the sneaker industry, in the fashion industry, you'll see the trends in music, right? So right now, the sneaker game, the resale is dying, right? So people think that the sneaker game is dead. To me, this has been one of the best years for sneakers ever. I mean, I got the Brick by Brick 4s. Well, I didn't get the Brick by Brick 4s, but they released the Brick by Brick 4s. I wish I had a pair. They released the Foam Posits, the Galaxy Foam Posits. Those are the only two pairs that I really wanted this year that I did not get, right? You got a bunch of different Jordans. You got the Undefeated. You got the What the Kobe's, and stuff is sitting on shelf. Jordans that you, back in the day, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, especially in 2020 from like 2015, maybe from like 2012 to like 2020, it was like things were selling out like crazy and people were fighting. It was getting kind of crazy to get sneakers. But as Nike has upped the price and upped the stock, the sneaker resellers aren't eating as much. So they trying to say the game is dead. But really, if you really look at it and think about how this relates to hip hop, if you really look at it, the sneaker game ain't dead. The sneaker game for me is great. I'm catching sales. I'm catching deals. I'm able to check out. There's no more bots crazy like that. Now, of course, certain stuff get botted, but I was able to get the AE2s for the low. I was able to get certain shoes, right, for the low. So what is happening is that the money to be made off the sneaker game is not there anymore. So people are trying to say sneakers is dead. Sneakers is very much alive to me. But I ain't gonna lie. Sneaker content, it has a horrible return on investment because it hasn't grown. You can't really go nowhere because everybody's chasing to be first. And so same thing with hip hop, to where the money is gone, but the money ain't gone. The money is gone for people who are within the major label distribution system, the people that are relying on streaming and streaming only, the people that can't perform, the people that only look at this like a lick. But others, independent artists and people like Lil Russell, that are finding ways to curate their own audience, direct to consumer, happy to pay, which you can come to a show for $1 or you can come to the show for 10 grand, depends on what you want to pay. So there are new creative ways for artists to make money, but they have to be artists first. They can't be here just trying to get a lick. So I look at the sneaker game and even the fashion industry. I just made a video about rappers should wear FUBU again. Go check it out right here, because hip hop lost its cool. Hip hop lost its identity. Hip hop ain't like, you can't identify that no more. That just looked like some weird avant-garde vampire shit, right? It looked weird. So I feel like as hip hop is going back to the culture, look at the way Kendrick Lamar is dressing on his tour. He very much, he's dressing like DMX. You get what I'm saying? He got a big X chain, baggy jorts, hat, do-rag. Like, he's going back to the core essence of what this hip hop is. And don't get me wrong, Kendrick Lamar glow up has been documented. That man is fresh nowadays. But if you look at even the clips, where things are going is going back to the essence of hip hop. It's going back to the core. It's going back to the elements. It ain't about charts and numbers and singles, right? So for me, I think that this is an important time to recognize who the real artists are and who the real artists ain't, because for so long hip hop has just been looked at as a check. Now it's about who has the art. And I think it was Willow Smith said the new cool in the future is going to be actual art. And I think that's so true. With artificial intelligence coming out, I think live shows are going to become more important. And the people that can actually sing, can actually rap, the people that can actually play instruments, they're going to be the people who are cool again. Even with this podcast and stuff, even with this content creation, those who are original and those who come up with new creative ways to entertain, those that come up with new topics, those that take risks are going to be the ones that are going to be successful. It might take them a longer time, but I believe that if you take risk and you really show how unique you are, you're going to be the one to be successful. So I think it was a good year for hip hop. Even in retrospect, Joey Badass taking the risk that he did, I thought that was good for hip hop, even though I didn't really like the album that much and I was expecting a lot more from him. He took risks. It's been a lot of risk taken this year. So I'm excited to see what happens next year. The SOs of the world and the guys that's like, oh man, it ain't lit. The girls in the city, that they're lame. OGs are taking over. The OGs are still showing you that, yo, I can have, the legacy acts got more appeal because they stayed true. They tried. They've been here for a while. They are actual artists. They rap. They giving you unique rollouts. They being unique and different, and they're not bashing. That's one thing that changed. I've realized with a lot of the OGs, they're not bashing the young guys. They're embracing the young guys where they can and showing you what can be done better. When you listen to a lot of these guys, the Heinekens, the SOs, these they almost like to pop the balloon of hip hop. They just say shit that I don't know if they're trying to attract the youth or maybe they haven't matured yet, but hip hop has been in a very good place. I'm loving what the OG's doing. I'm loving what Mass Appeal did with, I just watched the Mass Appeal event. Shout out to Rob Markman. And I spent way too much on comic books, but make sure you become a member because I will be doing a giveaway. The whole weekend I've been buying comic books. Don't tell my wife because I spent way too much money and she don't even know the half of it. I had to borrow money from her. Like, yo, I need a little hit. Man, Rob, it's your fault, Rob Markman. But I just watched a whole weekend of Mass Appeal artists, Ghostface Killer, De La Soul, Nas, Slick Rick. They all are on a comic book, which the comic book will be in here and I will be doing a review of it. They just did a comic book with Marvel.
We at the Marvel Mass Appeal event. We at Comic-Con. My peers were superheroes.
Just their presence alone is...
The only one I remember the guy, because it was so much, was Nas was the Calm. His whole character in Marvel is called the Calm, where he, the name a little, could have came up with something a little different. But hey, listen, Calm, Nas is mad chill, yo. His character could like walk through portals and stuff. So what I'm seeing from hip hop is dopeness everywhere, dog. Like real talk.
Coming into the game, you would never thought that, but we here right now.
Rob Markman being the curator of that, being the MC of that whole event, dope. And then him doing Whatnot rips with it's a lot of dope stuff out there that's going on in hip hop. And I'm starting to feel like I could make it through. Feeling good because I see it switching within content. And like I said, man, you can't listen to the pop the balloon type dudes. Heineken, SO, no disrespect to them. They got great work ethic. I actually like a lot of their interviews. I rock with Bag Fuel. I've been on Bag Fuel before they had like 10,000 subscribers. I've been on them heavy. The whole journey from leaving Math Hoffa and all that. But I rock with them. I rock with their work ethic. They earn their spot, especially a lot of their knowledge that they have. They to pop the balloon. I don't feel what they saying. I like that the OGs is doing what they doing. The fact that they able to do the Marvel thing. Master Pill dropping a dope Mobb Deep album called The Infinite. That joint was dope. I ain't gonna lie. Some slaps on there. Supreme Clientele 2. We about to get a new De La Soul album. We about to get a Big L album. I love what's going on. So hip hop is coming back to its essence. Is coming back to its core. And the fact that the OGs are thriving is super dope. I want to see the OGs on tour until they don't want to tour no more, because we need that. Mick Jagger, Elton John, all these people be touring.
We're the only genre, I gotta say it again, like I've been preaching for 10 years. You don't say old school Sting, old school Madonna, old school Cher, old school Paul McCartney. Only our culture has this extension to discredit you or to say, are you still rapping? Or hatred. But if I'm still nice, you're not taking nothing from me.
They don't be nice, E. Sermon.
No.
Why can't our hip hop artists tour? And we always look at it like they broke or they this or they that. Man, that's dead. That's quiet, man. The art has to live on forever so we could show the next generation how this is done. I like that hip hop is not in the mainstream right now. I'm glad that people aren't chasing charts and chasing record sales and chasing the big, 2000s era, because that's really what it was. The late 90s to the 2000 era, hip hop was so big. Now that we got social media, we see that these people are regular, and that's good. They not your savior. Shout out to Kendrick Lamar. They not your savior. So I feel as though it is good. It is dope. Hip hop is taking the back seat right now because the 80s set up the 90s. And I like that Glasses Malone said that. I've been on Glasses Malone podcast. This is the second time. We just shot an episode last night. Some dope things coming up. So make sure y'all stay tuned in with everything Read My Soul, man. Stay tapped in. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. The conversation continues with you. So leave a comment. Let me know how you feel about this. Donate to this Cash App right here. Anything is appreciated. Super chats, all that good stuff. The best way to support this channel. Become a member. Link is in the description. Let me know how you feel about this here. Hip hop not being in the mainstream is dope. Read My Soul out. Peace.